Guys, I'd like to give you a demonstration on, well, I've been asked to give you a demonstration on how to put our wraps on. I've been, over the many years that I've been involved in boxing, I've found there's many guys doing the wraps in ways that aren't beneficial to their hands. So I thought I'd give you the way that I find the most beneficial. What I've done with my wraps here, I've put a bit of a diagram on the sides, a marking on the sides, to give you an indication where you can see where the overlay happens. Okay, first of all, we're going to work on the bones. Let me define the bones in the hands. We have, if I describe firstly your carpal bones, which are the bones between your two forearm muscles and your hand and your wrist. Okay, in the bones, there's 7 little knuckles in there. We need to protect those. We also have the metacarpal bones in the back of our hand and up here on our thumb, and then of course our phalanges or our fingers as well, and of course the knuckles. So what you'll see that we'll do is I'd effectively like to, and I always start across the thumb and always across the back of the hand working down. What I like to do is wrap my hands around the wrist. Now, don't work any further down. You're not interested in any part of your arm whatsoever. It's all about the wrist that we need to protect, alright? So these 2 big knuckles here on the side, any further down, that's just a complete waste. Alright, so we go around here once. Now I'm going to go around here twice. I have a decent sized mullet of a hand, and if I go any further I'm going to run out of room. But if you've got a smaller hand or you're a younger bloke, probably go around there an extra 2 or 3 times at least. I'm going to go around there twice, and you'll see with the markings how I've moved up slightly. Each time I just always do that. Now what I'm going to do is go around my thumb. Okay, so I bring this up, roll my finger around here, and then I roll it around my thumb. So I go back from whence I came up the palm, around the thumb and come down. I then lower my thumb slightly. So it's not like this, it's lowered slightly. Okay, I then go around the hand and again through the bite between the thumb and go back around again, back from where I came again. Now what I do then is I lift the thumb and then pull a bit tighter here. So I have one pulling down and one pulling up. They'll then oppose each other and stop any stretching that will happen in my thumb. I then come across the back of my hand here until I hit this knuckle in the middle of my finger, this one here. Okay, I'll bring that up to the knuckle in the middle of my top finger. Okay, again you'll see with the markings I've put on the bandages how I go once, twice, and I move that down just a little bit. You'll see I moved it down, I don't know, about 6 mil, 8 mil, and then 3 times again. I move it down again. Now what I've done by moving that, I've covered the whole front of my hand right up to my knuckle. So if I close my fist, you'll see the face is completely covered. Now the whole idea of wrapping a hand is we're forming our hand into a box. Hence that's where the name boxing came from, because we form our hand into a box. Okay, I then will pull this across and bring it up to the bite, which is between my thumb and my wrist. Okay, I bring it across my hand and I part my little finger and go in the middle there. Now I don't want to pull this down and to tear the webbing on my hand. What I like to do is leave it, and as I close my fist and lower my fingers, I form it that way. So rather than pull across the webbing, I pull down. Okay, now to lock that in so it forms a box and doesn't undo, I wrap that again around the wrist of my, around my wrist. So it does 2 things. One, it locks it in around my wrist, and 2, it gives me a little bit of extra protection on my wrist as well. So it locks it in and protects. Okay, now I go 2. I come up here. Again, you'll see with the markings I've put on the bandages, I just move it ever so slightly. And between the next 2 knuckles, again, forming it into a fist, into a box, wrapping it around there. And rather than lock this one in around the wrist, I'm going to lock it in a little bit further up on the hand to protect the metacarpal bones on the back of my hand as well. Okay, and then I'm going to, of course, do that a 3rd time. Again, a 3rd time. And you'll see with the markings I've made on the bandages that I'm moving it up slightly. Again, lock that into the wrist there. Okay, and of course the 3rd time, I'll move the first one around my wrist, the 2nd one up higher, the 3rd one up higher still. So I bring that up here. So each one I bring up higher. Now these ones here, where I've gone under the fingers there, under on the palm of the hand, I need to protect all that and lock that in. Now what that should do, if you have the right size wraps for your hand, again I only went around the wrist to make sure that I would have enough left. So what I've got is enough left now to cover the face of my knuckles, cover up those wraps that I've put on my knuckles and go once, twice, you see again, moving it up just ever so slightly, and then 3 times around my knuckles, and then of course I'll wrap that back around and tie it in around my wrist. Now what I've done now is I've protected my wrist well and truly, I've protected my thumb well and truly, I've tied in the muscles across the back of my hand as well to protect all those well and tie them in together. I've protected the knuckles and I've formed my hand into a box. Okay, ideally I don't want to and I can't open my fingers up to a flat hand because I've formed it into a box. And that's the idea that it should stay until we've finished our fight or finished our training, and then we can wrap and go home and knock off. Okay, so that, my friends, you'll see that I've covered there and I'm well protected. That's a good wrap. If you can manage that, you'll do particularly well. Thank you.